Welcome back. This is your host, MJ Elitis, and I am your purpose and life navigation coach. Today, we're going to be talking about setting yourself up for violation if you don't value the gift that you are. There are a lot of us that go around life, and we have to learn the hard way of learning how to value ourselves, value who we are, and what we bring to people's lives. In certain cases, we bring destruction to people's lives. We bring awful things. If you're one of those people, this isn't a video for you, but if you are somebody who feels that you're being mistreated and you are in a place where you're wondering why people don't value you, well, I'm going to get to the core of that issue. Now, in many instances, you'll have somebody who comes into someone's life and they bring joy, love, something of value, something that is intangible, something you can't find anywhere else. The presence of that person's being, whether if you're a man and you're an individual who has curated and brought about their masculinity and built themselves up one by one, brick by brick, or you're a woman who has just absolutely beautiful feminine energy and knows how to make people feel at ease and feel good about themselves, then you are somebody who brings something to the table. You're somebody who, I don't even like using that term. It's such a modern day term now. What do you bring to the table? But if you're somebody who brings something to someone's lives and you uplift people or you elevate someone in one way, like for instance, I'm someone who brings creative gifts to people. I can build systems. I can see people's strengths. I can see people's weaknesses. I can troubleshoot. If you need advice or a mentor on that, feel free to reach out. However, if you're somebody who brings these values, these gifts to people's lives, and then you're just giving them away to anybody, then some people are going to come into your lives and they're going to be like, wow, I can't believe you're doing this for me. This is absolutely insane, amazing, exceptionally good. Whereas other people, they will be like, oh, what do I do with this? They'll chuck it to the side. They'll chuck you to the side, right? And depending who you're giving these gifts out to, you're the presence of who you are, you can get either violated and mistreated, or you can get celebrated by others who reciprocate that energy. And it's so important to actually learn how to value yourself. And I'm going to actually paint it out very simply for you right now in this video, and I'm just going to get straight to the point. The way you value yourself is recognizing what strengths you bring to the table. What are you? Who are you? Right? So that means getting a notebook and pen, right? And sitting down and actually saying, introspecting and asking exactly what is it that you bring. Now, you may not necessarily know, and we live in a time now where you can open ChatGPT. If you've got ChatGPT, that's an artificial intelligence where you can speak to it. Go and download that, have a conversation with it, explain various situations that you've been in, and ask it, can you explain the kind of person that I am? I'm trying to understand and reflect, because it's so important that you understand who you are as a person. And then as you get to know who you are, or you actually accept who you are, because that's another stage. Once you may very well be a very nasty person and you may need to change, but this is not the video for that. We're talking about the people who actually have something in them, because you may very well have a gift that's absolutely amazing and you haven't even recognized it yet. You haven't even recognized it yet. So recognizing who you are, what you bring to the table, and understanding who you are, then you can see and start to see that, hey, when I bring my presence to the table and I'm getting mistreated by this person, this person, this person, and I'm doing all of this for them, the key here is to, if it's safe, to address it, because sometimes it's not safe and you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you can get physically harmed or attacked or mentally abused or emotionally abused, because that is just not the way to go. That's not cool, right? If you can say something, say something. Put someone in the place, hang on a minute, I don't like this. And that may very well be hard, and maybe I need to make another video for another time. feel free to comment and even reach out if you want a video made for you. Um, but what I should talk about, but putting someone in their place, if you're not used to doing that, that would be very hard. And that would be a very difficult thing to do. But if you can find the courage, hey, I don't like that. And then sometimes if you've never done that for people, people will rage fit. People will get upset. People will be like, oh my gosh, who do you think you are? And they may even very well make you feel bad for even doing that. But the people who value you, right, will acknowledge it. They will turn around and say, hang on a minute, maybe I haven't been treating you right. And it may be very hard for them to hear. Sometimes people have a defense mechanism and then they come to realize it afterwards. Sometimes people will acknowledge it if they're highly manipulative and then continue to do it later on. So that you have to look out for that. But if you can say something, say something. Because that brings up into the next point. If they do it again, that's when you employ consequences for their behavior. Now, it doesn't have to be a major consequence and completely disproportionate for what they've done. Maybe it's a very small thing, right? I'll give you an example of a very tiny thing. Let's just say, I don't know, someone keeps stealing your pencils at school, right? They keep, oh, can I use a pencil, right? You know, you just say to them, hey, don't do that, right? And that's like the first step. You don't want to be going to the headmaster screaming, oh my God, they keep screaming, taking my pencils, right? That's completely disproportionate. If you're an adult now, you know, if you're dealing with people who are like continuously looking down on you and treating you in a manner that is just not to be treated, like, I don't know, for example, your parents treat you like you're still living with them at home, and you know you're helping them, doing everything you possibly can, and you're trying to move out and stuff, but they still treat you like crap. They still like they're demanding things from you that you cannot give. Then you know you can put your foot down and say, hey, have that conversation. And if your parents are open to receiving, then cool. But if they're not, then you might want to start thinking of going a different direction. And you will start to see when you know, if that's yeah, obviously I have to judge this in a proportional manner. But once you start to gauge which level of which you should respond with, and you get used to it because it's an art form, right? You start to build a backbone. And with time, you stop being people's doormats. You stop being someone who puts themselves in harm's way. And by doing so, you are showing to the world, telling people, no, this is not okay. Because people won't automatically treat you the way they want to for you to be treated. They won't do that. You have to let people know. And the best time to do it is to do it when it starts. The moment you see something go off, and if you're like me, sometimes I don't always catch it. I don't always catch the fact that someone has done something to violate the situation or violate me. And it takes me a couple of days to go, process it. And then I wait until the next time to see it. And then that's when I say something. They say, nip it in the bud. Get it when it's happening. If you can get it when it's happening and say something on the spot, then say what you got to say. However, by not looking at who you are, the gift you bring, whether if it's your presence, your masculine presence, whether if it's your insight, your intellect, your understanding, your caring nature, whatever it is, your feminine presence that makes people feel relaxed and good and at ease and light around them, whatever it is, right, you've recognized as your gift, right? And for the most part, you actually bring a lot of love to people's lives, right? Because again, this is heavily nuanced. You could be a very toxic individual, and if you are, go and seek help. However, if you have recognized this, take the time to look at yourself and say, actually, this is a gift, and this isn't something I should just be giving to everybody. This isn't something I should be just allowing everybody to have access to, because it devalues that gift. It devalues you in the eyes of people. And sometimes even when you recognize what you are, some people may never value you. And that's why you take a step back. You take that gift back from people. you take that a bit of that gift back. And they're like, well, they're not entitled to it. Who do they think they are? You have a life. You are worth more than being mistreated by people. But if you don't value your gift, you are setting yourself up to be violated. Because if you go around showing the world that anyone can have access to this gift, anyone can take from you, anyone can take a piece of you, anyone can take your insight, anyone can take what you got to say, anyone can take whatever they want. You're saying to the world, I'm easily accessible, I have no boundaries. I will never have any consequences for your behavior. And then that's the term of being a pushover. You don't want to be a pushover in this world. Because what happens is, you get pushed over so many times, and then eventually some people go the opposite direction and they become the very thing they hated. You don't want to become one of those people where you've been pushed so many times, you just erupt in anger because you didn't know how to set a boundary when it was happening. And then people are like, whoa, we don't want to hang around with you. And then you end up isolating yourself. And then you're blaming the world. And then you become the very thing, the villain in which you despised growing up. Because that happens too. It's better to let people know from the get-go. I will use this analogy time and time again. I saw it somewhere, I can't remember where. Jock Willings, I think it was. I don't know if that's his name. A dog. If you go up to a dog, I'm not calling anyone a dog here. I'm just saying, just for an example, I've got this is not even my words. You go up to a dog, and if a dog doesn't like the fact that you are coming near the dog, it will indicate. It will show teeth. Start growling a bit. It'll let you know. This is my boundary. You go further, the dog will growl even further, bit more. And then it'll growl even further, and it will incrementally bring it up until it bites you. A dog, depending on what kind of dog we're dealing with, but like a dog that has got healthy boundaries, will let you know. Will let you know before he or she bites you, right? And then you will receive the consequences of your behavior. That's essentially what you got to do. I'm not telling you to bite people. I'm not telling you to go around and bite people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to bite people. Like, metaphorically, I'm saying you got to have a boundary. And then if someone comes to take, no. But if they treat you right, don't give them everything. I'm not telling you to give them everything. Oh my gosh, the smallest amount of love. Here you go, here's everything. That's also not the way to go. Observe people. Are they deserving of your love, the gifts you bring, the gift of who you are? My alarm just went off. I'm going to keep that in. Are they? Because if they're not, it's time to employ consequences and start acting accordingly. That is all for today on the MJ Elitist Insights. I'm your host and your guide and your life navigation coach, MJ Elitist, and that is all for today. Reach out if you need me.